Hey, what's up? What's happening? Good Monday evening to you. It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen by you. Who am I to throw all this happiness at you? Why, I am the Dungeon Delver, aka Bill Sylvie, better known as your guide to the stars, by which I mean go outside, look up. There you go. I've guided you to the stars. How are you? I hope you had a glorious weekend. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I hope you enjoyed some crisp fall weather and that everything in your world is doing just right. Had a question pop up there, Lightmane asking, have I played Dragon Dice? I have not. Jim Ward has a kind of an amusing story about Dragon Dice. Maybe we can get Jim on the show again one of these nights, because Jim is one of my favorite guests. All of my guests are my favorite guests. What am I saying? Jim's a fun guy. He's not a Mike and Ed. He okay, trust me. He's not, I promise. Jim is a fun fellow to have on the show. And we'll get him on again, one way or the other. We'll make it happen. But no, he has talked about a lot of late mid 90s TSR, like 96, 90, 95, 96 ish TSR, and their various bunglings, not his, mind you. Heyo. But anyway, oh, Dungeon Minister, when you made that pun, you broke the mold, buddy. Don't mess with a master. Anyway, but I'm sorry. I shouldn't have threatened you like that. I really should be more sportive. What is the best way to solo D&D? You know, if I had to do it, I would say use the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Random Dungeon Creator, and just go from there. I would just go from there. Because that's really, in my opinion, the best. So anyway, no, the Dragon Dice blister pack that you see in today's thumbnail, because I don't know how to do provocative thumbnails. Like, I was watching one for some guy. He was talking about creepers at his D&D table, and I gotta say, I'm not gonna tell you who he is. You're gonna have to find this. He's got a good grift. Okay, his video, like, if one of my videos got the views that any one of his videos did, I would go bonkers. I would go nuts. But he gets like thousands of views on his videos, and all he does is read r/RPG horror stories or D&D horror stories about games gone horribly awry. And one of his videos was talking about someone who was a pest of a certain type. A convicted pest, if you will. And in his thumbnail was a big name convicted pest who absolutely did not unalive himself in jail, and his girlfriend, who was arguably as big of a pest as he was. That's what he used for his thumbnail. 9,000 views on the video, right? I just post random pictures of TSR stuff up, and I'm like, oh, 168 people have watched my video. That's nice. There, Volcano God, that's awesome. If you want to party in AD&D rules, Pool of Radiance is great. Baldur's Gate is awesome. I actually, not a Forgotten Realms fan, but I like Baldur's Gate because at its heart, it is AD&D. It is very much AD&D in its soul. And I can't fault it because you can go into Warrena Caves and kill kobolds. Greetings, Chris. You're quite welcome, TJ. Anyway, so yeah, this guy's got a fantastic grift, but he does like anime thumbnails, and then he did this one with the two famous people, one of whom absolutely did not unalive himself in jail. He was unalived by someone else. So yeah, I suck at thumbnails, but the thumbnail for tonight's video, it used to be, and a lot of you guys might not remember this, you could get these really crappy dice. Here, I'll show you if this will come up. Will this come up? There we go. These, you guys remember these? These awful things you'd get in a pack and color in with a crayon, and they'd start crumbling, or sometimes they would come with the TSR sets. You know, that's nearly a 40-year-old die there. It may be 40 years old. But you'd get them in a blister pack. They'd come with a crayon, and it was 6 dice: a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, a D12, and a D20. And the blister pack art was done by Jim Rosloff. I believe Paul Stormberg actually has that rather vivid and brightly colored painting. I hope he does. I hope he does. The rounded corner dice, absolutely, RP Gamer Pro. TNT, I have tried TNT. I can't get into it. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is. It's a me thing, right? Okay, I'm not throwing shade at the TNT creators, unless, of course, it's Jim Shipman, who, of course, just, stole a bunch of stuff. But anyway, so yeah, that's the image on tonight's thumbnail is that. And speaking of tonight, and things I'm going to show off, first of all, I have finished prototyping the owl bears, and I will now show those to you. They're not up for sale yet. Don't start saying, I want a set. I'm not even gonna mention a price, but it's going to be 3 owl bear miniatures. The first one I'm going to show up here. I'm just going to bring them all up one at a time. That is the Monster Manual. That is the AD&D Monster Manual Owl Bear. 3D printed for your pleasure. This is the found in the Chinese toys, Chinese dinosaur, Chinasaur, if you will, Owl Bear. And finally, we have this adorable little fellow, which again, and that owl bear is from right here. I'm going to show, focus. I will show you guys. Let me see if I can bring this up. So what is that hideousness that you're showing us, Bill? You might ask. May well you ask. Present, share screen. That owl bear, the last one that I showed, is the one on the screen. So what this offering will be is going to be those 3 owl bears. When I pull the trigger on those will be the next 3D prints that I offer. But we'll talk about that later, because I'm not done. I'm still painting on the Green Devil Face Tomb of Horrors Sphere of Annihilation wall titles. Those are still painting when those ship out. Then we'll talk more about those. But I just wanted to tease you guys. I just wanted to show those off a little bit. And hopefully y'all enjoyed seeing those, because I did. But anyway, so that's what's going on there. This Friday night, we will jump straight into Call of Cthulhu. There will be no preamble of looking at Deities and Demigods. We'll come back to that. Friday night's entire stream from 9 o'clock until everyone is dead or insane or has escaped will be the Call of Cthulhu Let's Play live stream to wrap up the Samhain to wrap up the season of the witch. Yeah, I have a Discord server. I have a Discord server. Me and English good. So yes, I will share that. Thank you for reminding me. I will share. Let's see. Just copy this real quick. Make sure I don't accidentally invite you guys to the green room, as I have been known to do. So yeah, if you want to join us over on the Discord and sit in quiet anticipation, because I will probably, as before, only offer 10 sets. I'm not a machine, people. I have a machine, but I'm not a machine. So it'll only be 10 sets. I'll let you guys know when they go live. And then don't message me now. Don't send me like, oh, here is an email, Bill. You know, Volcano God, I think you hit it out of the park. You've got that up. You've got like a first baseman's build, dude, and you caught that one. Like, you had the bat turned perfectly. Pew, out of the park. TNT is a game created as a reaction by someone who didn't understand the origins of D&D. Honestly, I couldn't have said it better. That is a very astute observation on Tunnels and Trolls. Maybe one day I'll scare up Tunnels and Trolls and do a deep dive of the oldest TNT rule set I can find. I had a big 8.5 by 11 box set of Tunnels and Trolls, but it went away in a great selling off of, oh my God, I have to pay rent or a power bill, mortgage bill, something. And what was so hilarious about it was I was told it was complete. It was like as it came from Flying Buffalo. So it was this big, basic D&D box, but twice as thick. You know what they gave as a dice? One of those little tiny D6s the size of a match head. And that was the dice that came in the box for Tunnels and Trolls. Talk about being trolled. Come on, guys over at Flying Buffalo, step up your game back in 1980. Anyway, so that's enough about Tunnels and Trolls. But that, I think, Volcano God's observation there, I mean, that is, from a D&D player's perspective, or a general gamer, keeping things even and balanced in perspective, that's really it, with all respect to Ken St. Andre. Let's get on to new business. So tomorrow night, of course, first of all, if you're new to the show, welcome. If you're just stopping by and you're just watching, please click that subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications, join us over on the Discord, consider supporting the show on Patreon, on Subscribestar. You can support us directly on PayPal, or you can buy us a coffee. If that's how you want to go, there are the options right down there. Yeah, no, the best thing is subscription and engagement below. Leave comments. Leave comments below. Chris says 1d6, you can end up rolling literal handfuls of d6s and okay, I'll take your word for that. Anyway, to move forward. Tomorrow night, more almost said Call of Cthulhu. Tomorrow night, more looking at Deities and Demigods, which we're going to get to this evening, I promise. And then we're going to dive into Let's Play First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So, if you're new to the show, if you haven't watched, yeah, that's a thing we do on Tuesday nights. And I'm looking forward to playing that. Wednesday night, Beef Coog says, how about the owl bear illustration from the bee? Yes, and I wish there's a Rosaloff metal Rosaloff owl bear you can get from Otherworld. I have one. I'll show it to you guys. That is not part of the offer, though. I don't have an STL of the metal Rosaloff owl bear, which is a shame. Anyway, getting back to Wednesday, all night Wednesday, we will be playing Classic Traveler. The captain of our starship will be one Mr. Viking Hat GM, Kyle Schuant, will be here to make sure we're all appropriately spaced. And hopefully we won't be spaced. Thursday is just kind of a chill day because we're going to keep on going through Deities and Demigods. And then Friday, we will play Call of Cthulhu all night long to the end of the campaign. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm bringing the spooky on Friday, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the week. Let's get into what we've got. Morrissey will be... Stop him, oh, stop him. Stop him if you played this game before. All right, so we're going to get into it now. You know what? Speaking of singing, you know I haven't seen it. What? Luther Pendragon. Luther, if you're out there, say hello in chat. Oh, Volcano God, if anyone pledges a super chat, he will match it. No limit. Those of you who've been sitting out there waiting to surprise me with like $1,000 super chat, now is the time to strike. I don't think any of you are out there waiting to do that, actually. All right, let's get into it. Deities and Demigods. We're at the next C letter. Celtic mythos were awesome. I love looking at those. I loved it as a kid. The Aztec and Maya is a little outside of my comfort zone, but I don't mean comfort zone as in I don't like these. I mean, I don't have that much knowledge about them, and even as a kid, I didn't. So this is almost always a new look for me. And what I knew about Mayan and Central American and Mesoamerican mythos, I learned from Aztec Challenge on the Commodore 64 and the opening act of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and a little bit of world history and geography. Volcano God, I think you're fine, dude. You're fine. I don't think you're going to have to break open your wallet at all tonight, to be honest. All right, so let's open this up, and I'm gonna zoom this back a little so you guys can see. And I love the art in this. I love all the art in all the sections. I should stop wasting your time to say, I love the art, because all the art in this book is good. I cannot find objectively a bad piece of art in this entire volume. But I do want you guys to see this because it is a great title page. And let's share it now. The Central American mythos. And this is an OCR font. I don't know what font it is, but by God, it recognizes it. So you've gotten a look at it, little sneak preview of Quetzalcoatl. Oh, and also I learned a lot watching In Search Of, because there was always something in Central America. Crystal skulls, ancient astronauts, they always had something going on. All right, so let's zoom in. It's the exactly. A-Wig hits it out of the park. That is some beautiful art. The Aztec and Maya represented, one more time. The Aztec and Maya presented the world with an interesting set of closely related gods, goddesses, and creatures that have a moral background similar to that of other ancient mythoi. The beings are just as evil or just as good. The difference seems to be that they are not motivated by anything resembling human thoughts and feelings, unlike the deities of other mythoi. That's from the guy who went on to write the Cthulhu mythos later in the book. I summoned the Luther. I was singing earlier, Luther. Hey, I don't want to start anything, Luther, but Volcano God said you didn't have the guts to super chat me $50. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about. They only act upon their own inscrutable motives. These beings are said to have come from the stars, and their plane of origin is not the same as other mythologies. You see what I'm saying? When this is a very different thing. I almost kind of wish we had done this particular mythos set in conjunction with our deep dive of Hidden Shrine of Tamakon. For purposes of this work, we will assume that these gods come from the prime material plane of a parallel universe. Commune or gate spells used by the clerics of these deities will only connect with this parallel universe and the plane where their gods dwell. There is no way that others can summon these deities if they do not know the special ceremonies used in contacting them. Also, these deities' unusual nature makes it impossible for them to travel on any planes but the ones that they have worshippers on. Very interesting. The clerics of this mythos are the elite of the populace, and even the lowest levels have absolute authority over any of the peasants. Along the same lines, any cleric of a higher level may give orders to lesser clerics of the same deity with complete freedom. Though all sects must usually work together, there is much clandestine infighting between groups for followers among the rich and poor alike. Rituals are performed every 20 days, and sacrifices take many forms, from food in the spring and fall seasons to humans before and after battles during the rainy winter months. And I'm going to warn you, there is a rain god listed in here whose sacrifices are particularly gruesome, and I'm not going to mention them. The public is forced to attend these rituals, and they are always held at the temple of the appropriate god. All temples are built upon the step pyramid design, with entrances at the bottom of the 4 compass points and east of the altar at the top. Divine punishment of erring clerics is swift. Small mistakes, like the breaking of clerical laws or defeats in personal combat duels, results in the immediate loss of some wealth and or experience points. Major failures in the form of lost battles, failed quests, or alignment changes will cause a cleric to be stripped of all possessions and levels and require him or her to start again from the first level of experience. Harsh. Oops. First level clerics must choose a compass direction for their own east, west, north, or south, and this is the direction that they pray to, meditate towards, and start their quest towards. From then on, any attacks they make or spells they cast in that direction will have a +1 added to their chance of success, i.e. a +1 chance to hit, or -1 from a target saving throw. Now that requires map keeping for both players and game masters. What direction are we attacking from? North. Cool, I get a +1. Wow. This passage totally smells of Jim Ward, yeah? First level clerics, I already did that. Where are we? When in combat or other situations where the direction is not chosen or dictated by circumstances, the DM should roll a 4-sided die to determine which compass point the cleric is facing. Clerics of the east must wear red clothes, clerics of the south wear yellow, clerics of the west must wear black, and clerics of the north must wear white. Yeah, if that was last week, then yeah. Okay, let's talk about Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl? I'm going to murder all of the names in this section, and I'm sorry. He is a greater god, move infinite, 400 hit points as all the patron or matrons of the mythoes have. Lawful neutral, and we see again, he is 25th level cleric, 13th level druid, 20th level paladin, 20th level magic user illusionist, 20th level thief, 20th level bard, 25 across the board. He's the supreme capital G god of this pantheon. I could try Dungeon Minister, but it would be ugly. I don't know, maybe something will get me mad enough someday that just every episode, every night, I will be in high dudgeon. Chris is like, he's only a 13th level druid, loser. I don't know if anyone will hit you up, Volcano God, but thank you very much for the effort. I appreciate it. Also known as Kukulkan, or in its capacity as Wind God, Ekatl. This god appears in a bewildering number of forms, and while he usually acts per his alignment, there are times when he works in chaotic, evil ways, making it very hard to align him. He appears occasionally on our plane and works closely with his worshippers against other gods. When in battle, the god will usually assume a monster form and use that to attack with, but if he suffers great loss of hit points, he will take the form that he had assumed at the beginning of the battle and quadruple its powers and re-attack. He fights until his side has won the battle or until he has been personally defeated in combat. He cannot be hurt by creatures of the same form he is using. In other words, when he is using the form of a dragon, he cannot be hurt by any dragon type. And when he's in the form of a magic user, he cannot be hurt by magic spells. Quetzalcoatl was the mightiest god of the mythos, though his claim is disputed by followers of that, his archenemy. Quetzalcoatl is patron of the arts and the founder of metallurgy. Luther, that makes me so happy. And of course, we have this beautiful, I think that's Jeff D. Could be Dave LaForce. I don't know. I'm feeling LaForce there. I'll look over here. Is there any indication? That's tough. That's tough. It's not woodcut, thick, blocky enough to be Trampier. It's not organic enough to be Errol Otis. Its lines are a little too thick to be David C. Sutherland, and Dave Sutherland did not go to black backgrounds much. I don't know. That's a tough call, Volcano God. That is a tough call. And the PDF doesn't really give us any indication. So I'm leaning either Jeff D. or David S. LaForce. All right. Kamaxtli, God of Fate. He is neutral, 350 hit points. Worshippers, all humans, or all alignments, rather. Human figure holding the sun plane, a parallel prime material plane. 20th level cleric, 12th level paladin, 18th level magic user. 23 is across the board, except intelligence at 24. Human appearing god is able to see the past and future of any being and put this information to use in his own way. He's not allowed to kill any being, but he can look into that being's past and discover what force caused the most physical damage to that being, and then recreate that force exactly to again do the same amount of damage. Ouch. You think you figure Sutherland. You make a strong argument, Volcano God. You really do. In the presence of any light, he regenerates 5 hit points per melee round. If proper sacrifices are made in precious metals in an amount of 500,000 gold pieces or more, there's a 25% chance he'll look favorably upon the sacrificer and do what he can to help for a short period. The sacrifice is always cast into the beyond by the most powerful means available, a teleport spell, limited wish, or the like. You really got to be stressed. Yeah, you know what? Thinking about it now, I would definitely take Jeff D out of the equation because his stuff is always very clean and precise. And then I would say it's either LaForce or Sutherland, leaning a little bit more in your direction. But the line work is a little thick for Sutherland, in my opinion. Camazotz, we talked about him in C1. 362 hit points. He is chaotic evil. Appears as a huge bat and is always found with 100 normal bats. 1,000 normal bats. He is bad news. He is bad juju. And then we have the goddess of running water and love. I see what you did there, VG. She is chaotic good. Symbol is a jade fish. Also known as the goddess of the jade petticoat. This goddess is not only a water deity, she is the goddess of life and chaste love. Chaste. Put it back in your pants. In any of these aspects, she uses her power for the good of the beings that she is favoring at the time. Those that sacrifice to her of any alignment can expect her help if the proper forms are observed. She's especially eager to aid when healing or love are the factors to be dealt with. See, it's not all tearing hearts out. It's not all burning people alive. She has the unusual ability to transform 300 to 300 beings in any single form into any single form she wishes, usually fish. This ability is used only to save the lives of devout worshippers. Into the sea, my children. Pop. The proper ritual sacrifice to her requires a tossing of jade. The higher the quality, the better the response, into a bottomless pool of water in one of several such areas in the mountains. This is done by the light of the full moon, and there must be no other being within a mile of the area. Clerics to perform this ceremony for the needy have a 25% chance of success, while normal worshippers only have a 1% chance. It may be attempted 4 times a year. She is the wife of Tlaloc, and we're going to see what an odd combination that is soon. Hugh Toll. Hugh. That is an absolutely awesome drawing of him. Chaotic evil, god of fire, assassin, monk, fighter, cleric, druid. All the bad ones. He appears to be a demon with a humanoid body. Yeah, reptilian facial features, flame shooting all around him, and hair patches where his red gem armor does not cover him. He's a ginger. He requires frequent human sacrifices. Shocking. And will punish erring warriors. Hey, Doom Sword. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So frequent human sacrifices. A beam of searing light that does 50 points of damage. Also in charge of keeping time in motion. Will destroy him. Hey, hold up. In this capacity, must have special sacrifice of gems, feather robes, and humans every 52 years. During the 52nd year, the god has the ability to stop. Oh, thank you. Volcano God, thank you guys so much for the supers. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, Volcano God. Thank you, Doom Sword. That is very decent of you guys. He has the ability to stop the motion of anything, any one thing in any single day. In the stop state, that thing cannot be harmed by any force in the prime material plane. And then we have the God of War. A lesser god with 389 hit points. Neutral. 13th level cleric druid, 20th level fighter, 8th level magic user illusionist. And he's got almost the full spread of 25 stats there. May appear on any battlefield where his worshippers are fighting and aid them, but this will not be in any such manner as to make sure his side will win. He can rarely be called upon for any non-warlike situation and can never be communed with. His battle axe strikes for 3 to 30 points plus strength bonus, so you're going to get 17 to 44. With each of his 3 strikes per melee round, all attacks on his rear will return on the attacker and never miss. I'll backstab him. He's usually depicted fully armed in blue jade armor. His axe is bright red, and his headdress is made of hummingbird feathers. Sacrifices are made to him only in battle and only by fighting clerics. When the god chooses to appear for that battle, on a 5% chance, he will take the body of a dead warrior that won great victories either during that battle or in the past. No matter what the outcome of the battle, win, lose, or draw, that warrior will be raised and live a long and lucky life. This luck takes the form of +3 on all saving throws. There's a lovely picture, a hawk or an eagle there. Hawk by Dave LaForce. Or Falcon. Hey, you want to laugh at him? You go tell him you think it's funny. And we have Hunapu and Zablank. Twin heroes, poison blow darts, resistant to cold and fire. They're lawful good. They are 10th level druids, 10th level rangers, and 8th level magic users. Twin brothers are legendary for their thirst for revenge. Their father was killed by beings of the underworld, and so they went down and defeated these beings in games and battle. They were experts with a blowgun and could shoot their darts up to 200 yards. In hand-to-hand combat, they use their axes, which inflict 1 to 10 points of damage, but they try hard not to get close enough to be forced into that situation. They are resistant to cold and fire, so that 1 point is subtracted from every die of damage they take. It's Zemina. Neutral good, god of doctors. God of medicine, rather. It is a nice one. It is a very nice one. Of course, I'm partial. I think Dave S. LaForce's best piece he's ever done is the treasure chest he drew for me in my Dungeon Master's Guide. Why did gods get statted out in D&D and AD&D? I mean, it's... I think there's a couple of reasons. Volcano God, I think that's a valid question. Primarily, I think to give a barometer to where players should be on power levels. And this is mentioned in OD&D, or maybe not in OD, but in Gods, Demigods, and Heroes for OD&D, where it's like, hey, we've had people come up and say, yeah, my fighter has 500 hit points and like 5 gold dragons and so on and etc. Here's a book of the gods. The most powerful god, Odin the Allfather, has 400 hit points. You are going over the top. It is too much. Plus, I think it's just in human nature to categorize things like that. Yes, move infinite. They can be anywhere they want to be at any point in time. They are gods. So anyway, he is neutral good. Worshipper's alignment is good. 22nd level cleric, 13th level paladin, 15th level magic user, and has really good stats. Normally appears to men in the guise of a toothless old man with sunken cheeks and a Roman nose. Interesting choice of words for a Central American deity. Leaning on a crooked staff. However, he may also assume the form of light in one of its myriad aspects, a blazing globe, a fading ember, or a dusty moonbeam. And when in this guise, he may take on any size. He often travels in the world of men. He may see everything that transpires in the world if there's a light source present, much like a wizard eye spell. He is the friend and benefactor of men, instructing mankind in medicine, drawing, and letters. He is often called upon by his clerics to intercede for man when with the other gods in times of calamities and sickness. In his dealings with other gods, he rarely relies on the strength of his arms, using his wits to cause his fellow deities to react favorably towards man. He is the son of the sun god, and tries to temper. It's been Roman all over his face. Tries to temper his father's harsh dealings with man. If Idzemina is ever in a desperate situation, he will call upon his father for help. The god of medicine is by no means a weakling, and if battle is forced, he will strike with either his staff or with scintillating beams of light, depending upon his form, for 3 to 24 points of damage. Whenever he is attacked, he will become surrounded by a nimbus of light, which acts as a protection from evil, 6-inch radius, and a robe of scintillating colors. In light form, he is intangible and requires +2 or better magical weapons to strike him. He is also capable of drawing any one symbol per round in the air. And that's kind of a meh Dave S. LaForce drawing. His clerics will only deal with spells to bless and heal, abjuration and necromancy, or spells of a written nature, symbols. They are friends to all good creatures and are loath to do combat unless there is no other recourse. These clerics wear the few garments or just a coarse robe and carry a staff and medicine pouch. Often they may be identified by a necklace with a red hand ornament. They are usually excellent scribes. Ceremonies are held throughout the year, particularly in relation to the planting of crops. Sweet balsam is burned and squirrels are sacrificed to him. No tree rat issues around those temples. The god of death. Lawful evil. Some death gods are chaotic evil. A great drawing, and we know that one's by Jeff D. But his worshippers are of all the line, and he has that horror effect going. We're seeing that now and again. Charisma -4. Very bad for you and your mental well-being. But look, 15th level ranger. He's lawful evil. He's a 15th level ranger. He's a god. He can do what he wants. Usually appears in lich form, and no undead is able to resist his commands. At any given time, he can instantly summon 20 to 200 skeletons, 10 to 100 ghouls, 6 to 36 wights, and 2 to 5 specters. He can be summoned only after 50 live human sacrifices have been given to the god in worship. The god demands these lives during the dark of the moon and requires them from the ranks of his worshippers. Don't go to church tonight, Timmy. In battle, touching his body with anything causes the toucher to make a saving throw versus death. The god will usually attack with spells when personally in battle, but if enemies dare touch him, he will draw out a red jade rod that acts as a hammer of thunderbolts per the Dungeon Master's Guide. And we have the sun god. He's a real sun god. Let's hear it for the fun god. Rah, rah, rah. He is chaotic evil. Good stats. The sun god, which means the smoking mirror, is the god of the sun who ripens the crops but also brings drought and famine. He's also the god of the moon and night. He and his followers are always plotting the overthrow of Quetzalcoatl, and this god is the patron of treacherous schemings and betrayals. He rarely takes on physical form, preferring to remain invisible and ethereal, but when he does, it's usually the form of a giant jaguar or bear. In these forms, he strikes with his claws for 30 points of damage. He takes on human form to masquerade as someone else in the furtherance of his schemes. And yeah, this is another one of the human sacrifice gods. He's a spreader of disorder and war, but also an originator of wealth. Yeah, what defense contractor isn't? Tlaloc, the rain god. This horrifying looking thing. And I'm not even going to mention what he gets sacrificed. But if the proper rituals and sacrifice have been followed, he usually grants his worshippers the rain they need. If he thinks the requirements have not been met, the people will be punished. He has 4 pitchers of water, one filled with good water to make crops grow, one filled with water that contains spiders, eggs, and webs, which causes blight, one filled with water that turns to frost, and one filled with water that rots all fruit. If he's pressed hard in battle, he'll summon a bolt of lightning and fight with this against all comers. Do 40 points of damage to all in armor, 30 points to those wearing clothes, and 20 points to all naked flesh it hits. He uses the lightning bolt as if it were a weapon instead of a spell. Tlazolteotl, the goddess of vice. I told you. She is chaotic evil. She is one of those, she can appear either horrible or most comely. With 24 or -5. Yeah, no kidding. And there she is in this lovely piece by David S. LaForce. And 2 guys about to mix it up over her. And it just kind of jumps in. When she's under stress, rust, or being attacked, she appears as this incredible monster with humanoid body, demonic face with fangs and blazing eyes, talons for the ends of her hands and feet, and a black warty skin with a slick, greasy look. It's an illusion when she's at ease before worshippers, working on a victim, or in front of many strangers for one reason or another. She appears as a beautiful woman, capable of inspiring desire in any male and jealous respect for many female. She tries very hard to ruin lawful good beings all over the prime material plane by tempting them and then destroying them when they succumb. I think that, yeah, there's a lot of favorite illustrations of 13-year-old boys in this book from the 1980s. Nowadays, kids have phones and they can just be pulling up certain websites. But when I was a kid, this is... Anyway. Though she may assassinate, she'll never fight physically, and if met with beings that cannot be hurt by spells, she will teleport away. Her favorite attack is to use charm spells of all sorts. No evil being can think of harming her, even if they are magically controlled. The god of gambling and chance, the lord of flowers. He is neutral. Worshippers are all alignments. Always appears as a young man, can often be found wandering amongst the people, bestowing good and bad luck in the form of lost or granted saving throws. He is predominantly a peaceful being that gives a great deal of happiness to his followers. The god is most pleased with beings that take a large, calculated risk. The god of D&D players. And he's got a hand axe that does 30 points of damage. That may be the last of the Central American myths. And now we're to the Chinese myths. We'll do these like for another 30 minutes. I've got a thing. I have a thing I have to do. Gonna zoom out and get a look at the Chinese mythos again. The Chinese mythos font. And so we jump right straight back in. Now, Now, I'm not sure what comes after this section. We might just skip ahead a few sections, just jump straight to like Japanese, like Chinese to Japanese, and then look at the demi-human gods and goddesses, and then just kind of wrap it up, right? I mean, oh, no, we can't do that because we've got to cover what everybody wants to hear about, the Norse myths and the Finnish myths. I got you guys. Don't worry. The title of this section is somewhat misleading, as the mythology of the Chinese is so vast and varied, it is impossible to cover it adequately and remain within our size restrictions. You're darn tootin'. We have chosen the deities we feel most appropriate for inclusion. The Chinese image of the heavens is that of a great bureaucracy. Many of the deities exist to perform a special task and watch over a special area of life. Each god is supervised by a more important deity who is responsible for seeing that things are done correctly. Every being is accountable to the emperor of the heavens. Every year, the gods send reports to their supervisors, and it is not uncommon to be promoted or demoted for work done during the year. You just staple the pink copy on top of your TPS reports, is what this boils down to. Page 43. We're on page 38. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, is page 43 the Nawan myths? Yeah, those are my favorite too, Praxis. Yeah, those are going to be cool. The Nawan myths are awesome. So clerics play several roles in this master plan. According to plan, they support the existing mortal governments and preach the divinity of their emperor. The emperor, in every case, is not only the head of the state, but also the head of the church, thus gifted with high priest powers by the gods. The atonement for all sins, both clerical staff and mortal worshippers, is a matter of sacrificing items of value commensurate with the improper act. If the deed was severe enough, judge's option as to this in AD&D terms, the atonement might even be death. Clerics must travel about the countryside, preaching to rich and poor alike. I'm sorry, Praxis. Did I irritate you? I'm sorry. I think Praxis is asking for something very specific that we haven't covered in this book yet. Can anyone tell me what he might be thinking of? All right, Praxis is leaving. Let's jump into the Cthulhu mythos. I'll try and get through them as quick as I can. You guys can pause it when you get to the parts you want to view later. Canon of Changes. This is a book of the gods which deals with the redistribution of matter and motion. It allows the reader to create any non-magical object instantly when the command words are spoken. It takes 72 hours of constant reading to learn the words for any one given thing, and after uttering them, it takes another 72 hours for another creation of even the same thing to take place. Only immortals have the constitutional stamina to read the passages for the length of time required. Dancing Sword of Lightning. I think I saw that on the Kung Fu streaming channel that you get like default on Roku. This weapon behaves as a dancing sword per the Dungeon Master's Guide, except that its powers include shooting one lightning bolt from the tip per melee round, which does 30 points per strike. It performs as a normal sword when held by mortals. It has limited charges and is the favored weapon of the demigods of the air. Iron Wand. This device makes all invisible things appear if within a 30-foot radius of the wand. It can make one object disappear as dust of disappearance. It also acts as a staff of striking with unlimited charges and will grow to a length of 100 feet upon command and become roughened for easy climbing. Jade Scepter of Defending. This device will defend the user from any number of material weapons, not permitting any one to strike its master while the holder concentrates on defense. While this concentration is going on, no other action may even be contemplated. The wind fire wheels. There are 25 of these devices, and they are used in large battles where the gods fear they might be defeated. They are handed out by Shang-Ti to the demi-deities and their servants. They shoot fire and or wind as a staff of the Magi. For every 5 charges expended, 1 hit point is drawn from the using being. They are 1-foot circular fans and are started by a command word from the holder. Shang-Ti, supreme god of the heavens, god of the sky, and agriculture. A greater god. 400 hit points. Lovely piece of art by Darlene. Lawful neutral. 25s across the board except strength and charisma. 15th level paladin, 20th level magic user, illusionist. 13th level cleric. Can sometime be found traveling amongst mortals. He appears like an aged man when he's doing that with a white beard, dressed in tattered robes. He also likes to float in the air ethereally, viewing cities and towns and the manner in which he is or isn't being worshipped. That's the mindset, Chris. He only has an AC of -2. We can take him. If it has hit points, we can kill it. All physical weapons sent through the air at the god will turn and strike the sender. He uses a shaft of light as a weapon that does 3 to 36 points of damage per strike. Its range is sight. He pretty much has a solar orbital laser. In his aspect as a god of the sky and agriculture, he has complete control over the weather. He can instantly summon or banish any type of weather he desires. He is the head of the celestial bureaucracy, and all the other deities ultimately report to him. His word is law amongst all the gods and goddesses, regardless of their alignment, and he is a final arbitrator in any dispute among them. They did forget the 6 demon bag. What's in your 6 demon bag? Any of you? What is in your 6 demon bag? Lightning, thunder, all that sort of thing? Chao Kung Ming. You know, I should have had Yang Yan Zhao on just for this part. The demigod of war. Neutral good. He's a ranger. He's an assassin. He's a monk. He's drawn by Darlene in beautiful rendition again. The scans don't do justice to a lot of the art. 6 demons in it. Well, there you go, Chris. Couldn't ask for more. I have a bag with 6 demons in it, but they're all succubi. Not allowed to talk about it on YouTube. The god of archers, punisher of the gods, who looks like a Bayeki, except he's got eyes and a mouth and a nose. Okay, he doesn't look like a Bayeki at all. Lawful evil. He's from Gehenna. He's an 18th level fighter with a charisma of -2. Fiery red skin resembling scales, a black demonic head with tusks, elephant ears, a large set of leathery wings with a span of 40 feet, a humanoid body, and cloven hooves. With his bow, he can hit any target within sight, and he is able to reverse any weapon thrown through the air at him and send it back to its caster. Shang-Chi's like, I thought of that first. His bow is magicked so that use of it by anyone will cause the arrows to fly at the user. He can shape change at will and wears green +4 plate mail in battle. It is the duty of him to avenge offenses against the gods, particularly desecration of temples. Don't desecrate the temples. You think being scolded by a cleric of Heronius is bad? They send you this guy after you. And who else do we have? We have Shi Sung Zhu, not Sun Zhu, Sung Zhu, Lord of Rain. Again, armor class -2. We can take him. He is a 13th level fighter, a 20th level cleric, and a 20th level magic user. He appears as a very muscular man. Bro, do you even lift? He always wears a blue war helm, giving him the power of constant haste and flying at twice the speed he could attain by himself, i.e. 48 inches per round. He prefers to ride a storm cloud that travels at 24 inches and is able to support up to 10 beings of any size. Like Shang-Chi, he can create weather of any type upon command. His suit of +3 scale mail appears to be badly rusted, and when any other metal touches it, that metal completely rusts away. His mace +3 strikes for 3 to 30 points per hit. What if you sicked a rust monster on him? Would his armor get stronger or weaker? Inquiring minds want to know, Jim. Chung Kul, god of truth and testing. He'll know if you cheated on your exams. He is lawful good from the seven heavens. He is a cleric, a druid, a ranger. He's also an assassin, a magic user, an illusion. He has it all. Monk, bard, assassin, thief, ranger. He doesn't have paladin. And that breaks my heart. He's always well-dressed in costly robes, dressed to the nines. And his primary ability is to draw from a well of knowledge so that he can meet any test with success if given time to visit his well. In any physical contest, if his normal powers will not let him immediately win, and he'll know, he will always run and secure the materials that will allow him to win and will do nothing else until he does win. So we have the god of D&D players. This is the god of power gamers. Yeah, I'm a ranger, cleric, druid, monk, assassin, bard, magic user, illusionist, fighter. You're not a paladin? No, don't have the alignment. He carries a +3 short of sharpness, and a rod of cancellation at all times. Nowadays, that's just a phone when you got your Twitter account on. This god occasionally travels around the prime material plane dressed as an old pot-bellied man with a long gray beard. He asks beings riddles, and if they answer correctly, he may grant them a reward, perhaps even a limited wish. The more difficult the riddle, the greater the reward. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because he was stapled to a punk rocker? That's funny. Here, have a limited wish. Feilin and Feng Po, Counts of the Wind. A couple of heroes. They're neutral good. They are rangers, thieves, and monks. You're going to see a lot of monks in the Chinese deities, demigods, and heroes. These man-shaped beings, I love that they're man-shaped. You know, man-shaped. They only have charisma 9, so I can see where he can. Yeah, that's more or less that. I guess that's a people, right? They wear +2 plate in battle. They ride each. They each ride a piece of the wind. These take 10 melee rounds to conjure up, and are easily negated by any spell affecting the weather or wind. They have all these abilities, but you can just shut down their travel with a simple weather control spell. They each have a large sack of leather. When open, these sacks blow whirlwinds like those of the Jinn. These whirlwinds last 2 rounds and can only be conjured up once per day. They figure prominently in all major battles of the gods and are often used as go-betweens for gods and men. That's what heroes and so on do. They appear to be demonic creatures in that their skin is jet black, their eyes blaze fire, and they are tusked. Their swords not only strike for 2 to 20, they do an additional 6 points of electrical damage per blow. No saving throw. That's a good point, Robert. Whoever can get past the early crummy levels as monk deserves eventual godhood. 1T, the god of war. Armor class -7. Who's feeling their wild oats and wants to take a swing at this guy? Chaotic good, and his worshippers are chaotic good and warriors. He has a 20th level ranger, a 15th level assassin, and a 12th level monk. He appears as a heavy muscled man and +3 red plate mail. When pressed by more than one enemy, he will simultaneously use his +2 halberd, doing 3 to 30, and +3 sword, which also does 3 to 30. When flying in his chariot pulled by 4 Pegasi at 24 to 48, no magic spell can affect him or the steeds. He watches every battle in which his worshippers take part. And what? Any mortal who dedicates the last 10 slain enemies to him may, on a 1% chance, destroy utterly the very next enemy that being faces. Slain enemies dedicated to Wan Ti must have their heads taken off and burned, or the sacrifices will not be received. Clerics of this god must always wear red armor or clothes. And, of course, there are good deities. I think that's another Darlene Illo, but I could be wrong. Kuan Yin, goddess of mercy and childbearing. She is lawful good. She is 25th level cleric, 14th level druid, and a 15th level bard. She's not a monk. Strength 8. Dexterity 12. Appears as a slim young woman wearing a green satin dress. Her main attribute is the ability to negate any single act of violence directed at anyone once per melee round. When a being accomplishes a good act affecting 50 or more worshippers of Kuan Yin, and if the goddess is near, that being may be granted a wish 5% chance. No act of violence can be directed towards her by any being in the universe. She could go strolling across the surface of Azathoth and just be like, for example, she could walk safely through 500 different types of demons and devils and never be harmed. Oh. Her main following is with the common folk, and all may work in her cause and expect to be rewarded someday. Her clerics are the peacemakers of the world and work diligently for the end of violence. Li Kung, Duke of Thunder. He's lawful evil, druid, fighter, 14th level magic user, illusionist, also not a monk. Appears as a man with smoking black skin and eyes with pupils like lightning bolts. He has 2 large tusks and a huge nose. He has red spotted wings with a span of 40 feet. He's a Balrog. A Balrog of Morgoth. When battling large numbers of opponents, he uses a set of green drums that act as a horn of blasting and drums of panic combined. In hand-to-hand combat, he uses his fist for 7 to 42 points of damage. When not using his fist, he uses a +4 hammer that strikes for 25 points of electrical damage per hit. No saving throw. Anything touching his +3 plate mail suffers 10 points of electrical damage. No saving throw. He exists to make foul weather of one type or another at the request of the other gods of the pantheon. These gods will request such when they feel their worshippers need a lesson. Li Kung particularly delights in creating windstorms that destroy fragile things of beauty or value. Well, you're just an asshole. It's your problem. Anyway. Lu Yui, god of epidemics. Looking a bit like an Ubo from B3, Orange B3. Lesser god, chaotic evil, all bad. Three demon heads, 6 arms ending in claws, and green-sailed skin. He has a look of death about him and an odor of putrescence. His main attribute is the ability to cast a rotting sickness as a spell that will kill his enemies who fail to make their saving throw versus poison in 2 melee rounds. This will kill you, and it'll hurt the whole time you're dying. Besides his damage done by clawing, his touch causes the red fever that will subtract 3 points from those hit every melee round until cured. Ow. Like I said, you will die and it will hurt the whole time you are dying. He never wears armor because all wounds instantly close themselves after being made. He regenerates at a rate of 25 points per round. Good luck. And those hitting him suffer from less than 10 feet will suffer the rotting sickness, so no saving throw applicable. Blah. He can wave his hand and cast sickness in a 3x3x3 cloud that will cause the red fever to all who breathe it. He bestows gifts on those he deems evil enough. This is decided whenever an evil act affects more than 500 people. If the god is watching on a 1% chance, there's a 5% chance. 5% of the time, it works 1% of the time. Oh, gosh. He will give the evil being a disease-causing present. He's Nurgle. He's the Chinese Nurgle. And this guy, Ma Yan, killer of the gods. He is chaotic evil. He is 70 feet tall. If he is dispatched to kill the gods, if you're a god and he comes after you, well, you might be in trouble. 3 eyes in his Tyrannosaurus-shaped head. 4 large humanoid arms. He has the strength of a storm giant, but rarely relies on this in battle. He also has a powerful magical device shaped in the form of a small triangular piece of stone that has the power to turn into any weapon the holder wishes, magical or otherwise. This monster's favorite tactic is to make a weapon from his stone that is double the power of the one being used against him. The creature is known to have killed at least 10 minor deities. It attacks as a plus 16 hit die monster. The existence of Ma Yan prevents complacency amongst the gods. Yeah, that is Darlene. It is butchered by dint of bad scan. Hey, wait. All right. I want to talk about No Child. When I was a kid, I thought he was just the coolest guy. Demigod of Thieves. If Demigod of Thieves isn't the name of a kung fu movie somewhere done by the Shaw brothers, one of the 500 of them made, one of the 10,000 of them made, I'll eat my hat. Demigod of Thieves, No Cha. Neutral evil, thieves. Symbol is a silver bracelet. He is a 10th level druid, 12th level fighter, 17th level illusionist, 20th level thief. He appears as a 3-headed, 8-armed man with silvery scaled skin, eyes that blaze like fire, and the ability to grow or shrink in size. He fights with a +3 flaming spear that hits for 30 points of damage, plus a disintegrate spell. Oh, okay, 3 to 30 damage. That hurt. Ow. Stop that. Ow, that hurts. What? I just into what? I what a great? I what? Poof. Yeah. That's a spear. He uses a brick of gold that he throws for 5 to 50 points of damage up to 100 yards away. Oh, you want some money? Yeah. Ah! He has a panther skin bag that blows a whirlwind like that of a djinn. He uses a bracelet which, if it is thrown and strikes an enemy, attaches itself to the neck of its target and strangles him or her in 5 melee rounds unless they are able to alter their form or teleport themselves to another plane. He also has the power to throw 1 30-point fireball per round. Boom, 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 boom. You punks aren't even getting close enough. Not 30 dice fireball. Because even that would be a little bit like, damn. And then this guy, actually, I think we're going to wrap it there, because we're going to get through the rest of the Chinese mythos, and then what everybody really wants, the Nehwan mythos. So we'll wrap up the Chinese and go on to the It's not the Nehwan mythos you guys want to see? Well, what is it? Oh, you guys don't know what you want. You'll make up your minds, I'm sure. Okay, so we will jump back to this point. Read along at home, everyone. The Cthulhu mythos was first revealed in a group of related... Page 40. Yes, we will get to page 43 soon enough. Soon enough. I can, if you listen very carefully over standard TCP/IP, you can actually hear Praxis champing at the bit. They should have put up the stats of Kane from Kung Fu, shouldn't they have? But there's still some cool stuff in the Chinese mythos. There's still some cool stuff in there. But we'll get to where you guys want to be, because I know you want to see it. I know you guys want to see it. It's coming tomorrow. So fear not. But there is some cool stuff in the Chinese mythos. Are you guys enjoying the deep dive? I'm just reading this stuff and providing commentary. We're kind of out of the historical and philosophical and mechanical discussions of the book. So I want to give you guys what you want. I'm here for y'all. So tomorrow, Fake Master says, absolutely, you stay put and you read that book out loud. Nostalgia. No, Fate Master. We don't trade in nostalgia around here. This is a living document, buddy. We play AD&D. Don't you forget it. But no, it is nice to revisit a lot of this. Like I said, the Central American mythos are just, they're far out. And I always feel a little weirded reading them, because it's like they're not from, like, you're not going to, I don't know, I was about to say you're not going to bump into them in Greyhawk, but the Ulman Islands, you know, deep dive, maybe that thing is a minefield, and a lot of ugly personal opinion could seep out doing an Unearthed Arcana deep dive. We'll have to see. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this evening. Tomorrow, more of this book, and we will get to that vaunted chapter, the first of the two that has caused so much angst, so much Sturm und Drang, so much drama, so many lies, so many my uncle works for Nintendo level lies, and misinformation. But we'll get to them. No, Chris, I'm not. I'm not. First of all, that would take the rest of my life. And second of all, I'm sorry, I don't particularly care for Dragonlance. I don't. That's on me. I know people love it. And that's no insult meant to Weiss and Hickman either, but it's just not my cup of tea for D&D. Oh, I was tongue in cheek. Oh, you're quite welcome, TJ. Listen, hey, I want to thank Doomsword and I want to thank Volcano God for the super chats this evening. That was great. I do appreciate that. I appreciate all of you guys, and especially, I want to take a hot minute and I want to say thank you to we have some regular contributors. We have some folks who throw in around here. You can too. You can join this list, but believe me, subscribing, clicking the bell icon for notifications, and leaving comments under the videos to engage that gosh darn algorithm is equally appreciated. So thank you. Big thanks for the monetary backing. It literally keeps the lights on around here, guys. Big thanks to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien 247, James F. Keck, and the entire observatory out there in Hawaii. I didn't know they were big fans, not only of D&D, but of me. William Smith, you were great in Conan the Barbarian. The Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, we need to see you back, Manny. Mark Corey, going to go play D&D with him. Kevin Wood, known him for 30 years. Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer. Rob, Jeremy Rule, Bo Ganora, Mikey Mank, that Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, the DM's Council, I guess all of those guys contribute, and Baron Von Headbanger. So thank you all very much. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Be good to each other. And I say this with no joke meant, guys. I love all of you. I do. Please take care of each other, and please be good to each other. Take care.